Welcome to the LEA Private Nonprofit Equitable Services Random Validation Training. For the PNP Random Validation, TEA will request documentation for one selected program requirement. However, a district must ensure it has documentation on file for all PNP program requirements. This section will provide a brief overview of the LEA PNP Equitable Services Program purpose and the indicator that will be validated. This presentation is intended solely to provide general information and guidance to Texas ESCs, LEAs, and participating private schools, and reflects the Texas Education Agency's current understanding of statute and applicable federal guidance. The content of this presentation is subject to change as a result of further potential information and guidance provided by federal agencies with regulatory oversight of these programs. This presentation does not constitute legal advice, and entities are, therefore, advised to seek legal counsel regarding the information and guidance provided in this presentation before acting on such information and guidance. Documenting overall compliance for a program requirement may require several forms of documentation to be maintained locally and available upon request by TEA and/or an auditor. To ensure overall compliance with program requirements, LEAs should refer to the program guide and/or other program-related resources that reference the multiple forms of documentation required to be maintained locally. The documentation requested for submission during the random validation process may not include all forms of documentation that are required to be maintained locally. Given the increased use of virtual meeting environments, participant rosters that include the meeting title, meeting date, and stakeholder names and roles would be acceptable substitutes for the more traditional sign-in sheets. This eliminates the need of a participant signature. LEA should review the Random Validation Handbook for each validation requirement. LEAs will complete applicable sections, include relevant documentation, and follow the Random Validation Handbook instructions to submit documentation through the Federal Program Compliance Division's Work app by the due date. The ESA Section 1117 provides the statutory requirement for Title I Part A, Private Nonprofit Equitable Services, timely and meaningful consultation requirements. The ESA Section 8501 provides the statutory requirements for Title I Part A, Title II Part A, Title IV Part A, and Title IV Part B. All of those programs fall under the Title VIII ESA Section 8501 that provides information regarding the timely and meaningful PNP consultation requirements. Program-specific provisions and assurances related to the Title I Part A PNP Equitable Services Program may be found in the LEA Consolidated Federal Grant Application on pages 22 through 23, item number 9. And it states, to ensure timely and meaningful consultation, the LEA shall consult with appropriate private school officials during the design and development of the LEA's Title I Part A programs. The LEA and private school officials shall both have the goal of reaching agreement on how to provide equitable and effective programs for eligible private school children. Program-specific provisions and assurances related to the Title VIII programs may be found in the LEA Consolidated Federal Grant Application on various pages that are listed on the slide. The assurance for all Title VIII programs states the LEA will provide services to eligible children attending private elementary schools and secondary schools in accordance with Section 8501 and timely and meaningful consultation with private school officials regarding such services. On the 21-22 LEA Compliance Report, one of the LEA program compliance self-check indicators are for the LEA to provide timely and meaningful consultation meetings with PNP school officials regarding the implementation of the Title I Part A and Title VIII federal programs. The consultation must have occurred before the district made any decisions that affect the opportunities of eligible private nonprofit school children, teachers, and other educational participants to participate in the program and continue throughout the implementation and assessment of program activities. Since the due date for the ESA PNP Affirmation of Consultation form was in September, there is no need to submit the same forms again through the random validation process. TEA staff will retrieve the LEA's Affirmation of Consultation forms which have been submitted. However, the LEA should submit acceptable documentation which provides evidence that timely and meaningful consultation with participating private school officials occurred. Acceptable evidence would include 2 samples of dated agendas, meeting notes, emails, or other documentation indicating timely and ongoing consultation meetings were held for a title program in which the private nonprofit school is participating. Again, TEA only needs for the LEA to submit 2 samples of one of the acceptable documented items listed on the slide. Written documentation supporting timely and meaningful private nonprofit consultation meetings is what is required. Issues that may result in an improvement needed status are auditable documentation requested was not submitted. Documentation submitted does not reference the requested PNP validation requirement. Documentation from a prior year was submitted instead of the current year. Thank you for attending the session. If there are any questions following this training, feel free to call or send an email to Lenny Treges, PNP Ombudsman and Title IV Part A Program Director, or reach out to your local ESC. Thank you and have a wonderful day.